Welcome back. There is so much happening in the tech world right now, from the growth of artificial intelligence to massive layoffs around the sector. It's difficult industry sometimes to navigate. But next week, there's an event happening in Chicago all about tech. TechChicago Week is billed as a celebration of Chicagoland's diverse tech ecosystem. And one of the organizers is P33, a nonprofit focused on diversity and inclusivity within Chicago's tech center. And joining us now is P33's COO, Nuwan Samaria. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you taking some time, because I think for a lot of people, we hear about big tech names. Some of them have a presence here, some of them don't. Explain what TechChicago Week is exactly and what the goal is.
So TechChicago Week is P33 and our co-host World Business Chicago's attempt at trying to bring the entire community of Chicago's tech ecosystem together. Chicago's huge strength is that it's incredibly broad in terms of its economy. It's a very diverse economy. So no sector has primacy. And so what we try to do here is to say, instead of everyone being in different places, this is really the first time and the 1 week where we can bring everyone together in one spot to really feel viscerally the power of the Chicago tech ecosystem across different industries, across different sectors, and across different cultures. That's a big part of what we're trying to do, is to make sure it's not just people who are in the tech ecosystem, but those who are curious about the tech ecosystem, who can have access and opportunities to participate during TechChicago Week.
And the people who are interested, or the people who are already kind of in the pool with you, you guys talk about tech makers.
Yes.
What is a tech maker, and how does somebody get their avenue into all of this?
So a tech maker is really, we're elevating people who are in the tech ecosystem, who are often from overlooked communities in Chicago, who have done something either innovative, either building a company or leading substantial inclusion efforts within a Chicago company, or just in general, creating space and on-ramps and access for folks from overlooked communities to be able to enter the tech ecosystem. And so those tech makers are really the builders who are leading at the frontier of inclusivity in Chicago tech.
So folks who might be hearing this saying, yeah, that's me, or that's my son, I really want them to plug in. What does next week entail? Give me a little color as to what next week includes exactly.
So it's a whole week of events, Monday through Thursday. We have an opening reception on Monday where Governor Pritzker and Secretary Buttigieg are coming to open TechChicago Week. We have an event, Tech Makers, on Tuesday, which is really for the folks that I just discussed. It's powered by Microsoft, sponsored by United and Discover. We also have a huge event, which we think will be the largest gathering of interns across the United States on Tuesday evening, where we'll see 1,000 students on the roof of the post office, where interns from across the city can get to know one another and build lasting connections for one another. We also have on Tuesday and Wednesday a Capital Summit, which is where investors and startup founders who are looking to invest in one another can come together to present their ideas and to pitch their ideas and to kind of think through, are there transactions that can be made? And then on Thursday is really the big crescendo of the entire event, which is 2,500 people at Navy Pier. It's really a fusion of all of Chicago's culture, all of Chicago's industries coming together under one roof so people can really feel this is what Chicago Tech has to offer. We'll have keynote speakers, including Scottie Pippen, the Bulls legend, Tom Siebel, the CEO of C3 AI, in addition to a number of panels thinking about inclusivity in tech, trading, and so forth. That will be the entire week.
A full menu. Before our time runs out, a lot of people are watching this, and we talk about on the air a lot of AI stuff, and a lot of job losses in the tech sector of late. Can you touch on both of those real briefly? What are the top headlines as you sit and see how the world is operating in your tech sector right now?
So it's definitely an ambiguous time. I think people are holding back, a little nervous with whether there will be a recession or not. I think from an AI implication, there's definitely going to be some layoffs, but there's also huge opportunity. I think the rate of change will never be slower than it is today. It's going to get faster and faster. What that means for us and as citizens is we need to be continuous learners. We need to experiment with the technology, become comfortable with it, because it is going to continue to permeate every industry and every sector in the country. But it is a huge opportunity for us to focus on skills that we want to develop that move away from repetitive work, which AI will probably take care of, towards more higher level thinking work that I think we all want to do.
Well, I want to thank you for making some time and educating our viewers for something that is critically important. Thank you for amplifying what Chicago has and for others to kind of get in the wigwam, right?
Yeah, no, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yuan, thanks a lot.
Take
Good
care.
luck next week.
Thank you.
We appreciate you making time for us here. Again, to recap here, Tech Week runs from Monday, July 10th through Friday, July 14th. There are various events at locations throughout the city. The main event, Tech Chicago Day, is Thursday at Navy Pier. We'll have a link to information on how to register or buy tickets up on our website. That's cbschicago.com.